Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Hentges with Beyond the Chart. In this technical analysis of the stock market video, we're going to take a look at the Dow Industrials, one of my key indicators, take a look at the three key ETFs, Semiconductors, Homebuilders, and Financials, and one stock from each one of those, so stay tuned. Okay, let's dive in on the Dow Industrials. Down 65 points on Friday. Almost all the indices were down on Friday. I think one of them might have been up. I think it was the Russell 2000. You could see the trading range very tight in here, about 62 points on the Dow, about the same as what it was on Wednesday. Tight little inside candles, just not a whole lot of movement the last 3 days. We're back below the 10-day moving average like we have been ever since here on the 21st. So what, 2, 4, 6, 8, so 8 out of the last 9 days, we're closing down below the 10-day moving average. It looks to me like the short-term trend wants to go down. We'll see what kind of follow-through we get this week. I don't believe that this whole scenario is done. This is just not very much of a correction here. And let's take a look and see just exactly what are we talking about. As a percent retracement, we haven't even gotten to the 23.6% level in here. There's no rule that says you have to go that far, but usually as a guideline, I'm looking for this at a minimum on a retracement pullback. And then we've got all of this support area right down just below that I would think it would start to pull into. So that's what's kind of on my mind, looking for it. But once you get into corrective waves like this, they can morph into a whole bunch of different things. So we just got to keep our eye on it. I do think the trend is to the downside. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Here's how the weekly chart looks. And it's, staying above the 10-week moving average. We had a little bounce back after that big move to the downside last week. We were up 66.5 points for the week. Not a huge move here for the Dow Industrials because, it's not like this closed above the midpoint of the previous week or engulfed the previous week or anything like that. So we'll watch and see. Does this hold? Does this low hold here on the weekly chart? All right, the one indicator I want to mention is the McClellan oscillator. I look at this every day. And right now, you got to look at, say, okay, we are back into the overbought territory. Once you get above 150, you're in the severely overbought, but we are definitely overbought. And as a matter of fact, here's the beginning of January, okay, the beginning of 2017. There's only one day this year that is more overbought than where we ended up on Friday, and that is January 4th, okay? And when you look at this over the last 6 months, I did a little scan back. Really, it's just the days in this area here in November, briefly here in December, and this one day here. We're talking about, where are my notes? 9 days in the last 6 months are more overbought than where we're at right now. So, we've had a pretty solid little bounce back. We'll have to watch and see. Are we going to roll back over or not? Or, we can get even more overbought. That's always possible. Let's take a look at the semiconductors. Okay, semiconductors on a weekly basis, they're up here pushing against the top of this channel, and it didn't make much more progress this week versus last week. The high the previous week, 79.99. The high this last week, 80.05. So I guess it pushed just fractionally, 6 cents above it. For all intents and purposes, it's kind of a sideways type of consolidation, and we're right here at the top of this channel. And this is the long-term channel that we're talking about from the whole bull move from March of 2009. So that's what we're looking at. Actually, this actually started. No, that's right. I thought maybe it started a little bit earlier, but that's the picture. All right, let's take a look at Qualcomm, one of the stocks that's in the SMH holdings, one of the top holdings. Now, the interesting thing about Qualcomm in here is it looks to me like, see this little consolidation? It almost looks like a little bit of a pennant type of consolidation. We've got the 10 broke down below the 21. The 55-day moving average is coming down very strongly. I use 55, 21, and then for simple, and then the 10-day exponential is kind of like my trigger line that I watch and use. So right now, I'm kind of suspicious that this thing is getting ready to break back down again. And of course, we got this little trend line right in here for this move, which looks like kind of a sideways consolidation after this big plunge that went on in January. So I'm watching this to see if this thing is getting ready to roll over. I want it to show me that it wants to continue. I want the price to move in that direction before I'm going to jump in. But that looks a little vulnerable to me. Let's take a look at the home builders. Okay, here's XHB. So we had a big bounce back in the home builders. They continue to have this really nice solid trend to the upside, up 46 cents this week at $37.23. Continues to ride above the 10-week moving average in here. So no breakdown really evident yet in the home builders. Let's take a look at Toll Brothers. Here's Toll Brothers over the last year or so. You can see here's February 2016. It's been kind of a choppy move, just a choppy overlapping type move. It's really pulled back. This high here in March 16th really came back all the way to there's a little gap right here, this big plunge that occurred. And what is that date there? December 7th in 2015. And we've pulled back up to it. Now, one of the things I noticed is we're getting some divergence, bearish divergence, RSI, and on the demand index that I use on DI plus on the directional indicators. You can see that in here. So all three of those are showing that we're getting some bearish divergence in here. I wouldn't be surprised to see this roll on over, maybe pull back down to this area here where it got previous support after smashing through it to the upside. But right now it's trending and watching to see if it starts to break down and roll over. Let's take a look at a long-term weekly chart real quick, just so you can see that this has got a very long-term trend line to it from the early 90s that's had several touch points in here. Now, it's quite a ways down below, so that it's not something that's in play right now, but it is something to keep in mind if this thing starts to roll over out into the future. Let's take a look at the financials. Okay, the financials got a nice bounce this week, up. Actually, they didn't go up that much, up 19 cents to 23.73, but compared to where it opened for the week, and then it came back nicely. You can see it looks like the support is right in here at the low of this previous fourth wave, the fourth wave within the minor wave 3, as I've got it labeled. So this is very similar to what we're seeing on the Dow Industrials. Now, a lot of times I'm looking for the previous fourth wave to provide support. It doesn't mean it has to stop there. And let's look to see what kind of retracement have we gotten here. And it's a little bit over 23.6%. So I would say, I don't know, maybe 30% retrace. I haven't actually done the exact calculation, but it's gone at least the minimum that I would expect. And maybe it'll go more. I mean, it's just, we got to watch and see how the waves, what kind of follow through. Do we get follow through to the upside out of this or not? That is the XLF picture right here. Let's take a look at Morgan Stanley. Okay, so just like in XLF, and of course Morgan Stanley is one of the stocks and one of the holdings in XLF, it's come down below this consolidation area. It dramatically broke below that. The key thing in here too is that this has broken a long-term trend line from June, from the post-Brexit. So this is the whole collapse after the Brexit news and election and everything. And so this whole rally since then has been broken here in March as it rolled on over. So now the real key is that it? Is this going to continue to stair step to the downside, or is this just a little short-term correction in here? I mean, this is a pretty sharp little move that it's got. We'll have to watch and see. Just like the Dow, it's only had one day above that 10-day moving average in the last couple of weeks. I want to move to the weekly chart real quick and just see what the picture is. Okay, so this is the trend line. Again, it's a longer-term trend line, kind of like what we just looked at on Toll Brothers. But this one is not quite as long as that. This is from the low in 2008. And you can see the move in here. We've had several touch points along this path also. Now we're quite a ways above that, but just wanted to keep that in perspective for the view. Here's the total picture, all the data I've got on the weekly on Morgan Stanley. So right now it had that big downdraft in 2008, and we've been kind of, chopping back, trying to get back to the upside. And now we've had a little bit of a breakdown again here of this trend line. We'll see whether or not it can get its legs underneath it. Let me go back to the daily chart. And that's it. I think that's all I had. Look at my notes. I think that's all I had on Morgan Stanley. We'll continue to watch this stock. All right, everyone, that's it for today. If you felt like the video was helpful, hit the like button. And oh, I've got a special announcement I want you to be aware of. Hold on just a second. Back over here at my website at joehentges.net, if you look under the products, swing trading course, the price is going, right now the price is currently available about a third off of what the initial offering on that price was. It's going to go back to that initial offering price here 2 weeks from Monday. So I wanted you to be aware of that. That 2 weeks from Monday, the price is going back up a couple $100. So check it out. I give you a 30-day money-back guarantee. I also have a payment plan that's offered out there to make it very reasonable to be able to purchase. So go on over to the website, check out the trading course, and while you're there, check out the membership also. All right, everyone, that's it for today. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on the next video.